Hi, we are here today with the talented Sarah Lund, the master stylist and ambassador, educator, manager, director, session stylist, and all the great fun stuff in our industry for working with Kevin Murphy. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, hello. So happy to be here today.
Happy to finally sit down with you and have a chat. It was great to meet you in New York at the anniversary event.
Yeah, such a great event. I think we all had a really great time and a good time connecting. And yeah, it was great for us to have an opportunity to meet and meet again.
Yeah, what a great night and what a great opportunity. So Kevin Murphy, the brand Kevin Murphy is how old now?
So this year in 2024, we're celebrating our 20-year anniversary. So 20-year anniversary globally as a brand, which is so exciting.
Yeah, wow, that's a major milestone for such an amazing brand, and I've seen it develop over the years, and it's just, I know Kevin personally. Actually, I was lucky enough to work with him when he comes to Canada as his makeup artist and stylist, and I got to know him quite well. So, I feel like a personal connection to the brand too.
Yeah, you're part of us, babe. I love that.
So tell me about yourself. You've been in the industry for around 15 years or so?
Yeah, about 17 years in the industry. I actually taught my very, very first Kevin Murphy class 15, 16 years ago. So it's sort of part of my DNA as a hairdresser, like my identity as a hairdresser really is synonymous with Kevin Murphy. It's been a part of nearly my entire hairdressing career.
Yeah, you grew and grew up with the Kevin Murphy brand and all the Kevin Murphy, everything that goes with his amazing brand.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off, of course, as a freelance educator in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm from, right in the middle of the United States. If you could pinpoint the middle, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
And then I've kind of moved around and actually became a full-time member of the team. I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary today.
Actually. Oh, wow. Congrats.
Yes, 10 years.
Your anniversary year.
Yeah. Serendipitous that we're here today.
And so where are you working out of now? Are you in the US or are you in Canada?
So currently I'm in the Austin, Texas area. Mm-hmm. But at the end of August, so our home office for Kevin Murphy, we just opened a new location in Salt Lake City last June. And so at the end of August, I'm actually relocating to Salt Lake City. To work out of the office. So I'll be based at Kevin Murphy.
I can just imagine how gorgeous those offices would be. I love the brand. I love the branding and the packaging. I mean, when it first came out, it was like, what is this? It was so unique and different to everything out there. And he was so ahead of the curve as well, like with clean beauty, clean hair products.
Yeah.
So how has the brand developed over the years since you've been with them?
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, over the course of time, you've seen the brand grow. We've seen products come, we've seen products go. And I think there's something actually really important when it comes to that. And I think the big thing that I've witnessed, especially from a performance standpoint or from a product standpoint, is the thing that we're really good at is evolving to the times and to technology. And so sometimes we, have those little products that have discontinued that, we still have in our hearts that we miss. Yeah. But there's always something with better technology or a better way to do things, either replacing it or just down the pipeline. So watching the brand sort of, grow that way. But I think it's also fair to say that there's products that have been in the brand for 20 years, since the infancy, like the formulations were that good that they're still here.
Well, I think that's also like the changes that are happening in production and just the bottles that they come in, like just for eco and sustainability reasons, and just the technology of chemical cosmetics, like making, the science of cosmetics and hair products have changed so much for the better.
For the better, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Kevin Murphy philosophy, our skincare for the hair philosophy, was something that's been, again, from our infancy for 20 years. And it was such a such a good concept to hold on to, I guess, at the beginning of my career, but just as the beginning of a brand, because we understood regimented skincare for a really long time, but didn't really understand those same things in hair care.
Mhm.
And, you know, I bring that up because sort of taking cues from the skincare industry, like there's always a breakthrough, right? Like there's always an ingredient and technology breakthrough that if we can borrow some of those things, that's what really leads us into that sort of top of innovation.
Yeah, and there's such a trend that's not going away about scalp care,
Yeah.
and so there's some scalp care products now with the brand.
Yeah, so we do have some scalp care products, a scalp range, and I think it's also what I love that you brought this up because it's one thing that a conversation that I really love to have. Just this whole entire idea of treating our scalps like we would our skincare. And I'm always a big belief, and this might ruffle a couple of feathers, but I've always seen that thing where we shampoo our roots and condition our ends. And I'm like, nope, we shampoo roots to tips, we condition roots to tips, because I would never wash my face and then only moisturize my neck, right? So
Right. Yes. Yes.
it's
Well,
that
I mean, the other thing is just the ingredients are very hydrating, but the conditioner is still an essential part of washing your hair. I mean, you'll never go to someone, they'll never forget to condition your hair. So it really is something you have to do.
Yeah, and I think that even with that scalp health, like we wash, cleanse, tone, moisturize like on our skin, just like we would on our scalp. So a big kind of proponent for that idea that we do it from top to roots to tips every single time, just to take care of our scalps.
Yeah. Now, with this anniversary was a really big event in Budapest. I saw some footage of that, and wow, it looked so spectacular. I mean, he always puts on a great show, and he's just the brand is so much about beautiful, wearable, commercial, like fashionable, high fashion. You know, I would look at all the models and go, yeah, like I would want to do pretty much everything that he's created here.
I want that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like there is some elements of avant-garde, but it's never too crazy. Like it's always just beautiful.
Yeah.
So how was the show?
Oh, the show is incredible. I think I've been part of 5 or so shows with Kevin Murphy now, and I think every year we walk away like, I don't know how we're going to top this one. Like every year we do it. And this year we just went like as a brand above and beyond and far succeeded anything that like I even could have imagined that we did. And this one, of course, was really special with it landing on our 20-year anniversary. Is really wanted to make sure that we looked back. The name of the show was called Reflective Perspective. So the idea of looking back to look forward, like look at where we've come, look at where we've been, and be really proud of the things that we've done and the things that we've created, and how can we build on that, you know, for our future. So it was that whole theme sort of ran through the show when we talked about hair trends. We even actually pulled out, if you remember, we had those little hair chalks, the color bugs. Somebody busted out.
Oh yeah, the color bugs. I remember those.
Yeah, just paying a little homage to like an iconic Kevin Murphy product, and just even all the activations and activities that surrounded the event. Just apart from the show, we had a wig installation that looked over. I mean, did you see it? It was incredible.
I like, you could probably take that on tour. It was so beautiful. It was yeah, like all the silver reflective mannequins with wigs. And how many mannequins were there? Maybe like 30 or something. Like
30 or 40 mannequins. Yeah. And it was looking at like it was actually, you know, a snapshot of Kevin's career in a way. So it was looking at photo shoots that he has done, you know, dating all the way back 20 years ago, and education looks, campaign looks. So it was just a collection of looks throughout the years that, you know, had their place in the wig installation. That was amazing. It was so wonderful to see.
Yeah, I wish I was there. I mean, the photo ops of that was just insane, right?
Yeah, insane.
And the show, like how many models, how long was the show for? Like
So we do a 2-day show. So we do day one is more of our show day. So that's where things are a little bit more showy, little less kind of talking about method, a little bit more of the glitz and glamour and the showmanship of everything. And that includes a dinner. So it was a dinner show where we start, have dinner, and then we continue. And then we have a big party at night, everyone's there, everyone's dancing, everyone's having a great time. We muster up energy for the party, of course. And then coming back the next morning for just a half day where it feels a bit more, it's still a show, but it's more of a workshop-like show.
Mm-hmm.
So we break down a bit more of product usage and methods and inspirations and that kind of thing to share with the audience.
Right. And is the Kevin Murphy team, is it a global team or like how many people are on it?
Yes. So we did have our global team. Yeah, we had our global internal team. So I'd have to I think there's about 12 of us.
Okay.
Maybe 15 of us globally. So we had team from Australia, Europe, North America. We all came. And this year was particularly special because we did also invite some of our local and freelance educators to join the show. So normally they come and assist backstage, but we had the opportunity to actually invite 6 North American keys, 2 Canadians, that we flew over to Budapest to actually spend time on stage this year. So that was really exciting to share the stage with our freelance educators as well.
Well, yeah, that's very exciting. So are you guys involved in any fashion weeks still? Like, is there any shows that you're doing?
Yep. So actually that's Fashion Week, something that's actually growing for us right now. We've always been really heavily involved in fashion weeks in Europe. So it's been a big thing that we do with doing fashion weeks in Milan, always doing a bridal show in Madrid, and countless fashion weeks that we have throughout Europe. And we've actually been part of, in North America, we've been part of.
I sent you a message. I said, I've got you.
It was spotlight.
Yes, yeah.
So I've been the hair director for the Paraiso event at Miami Swim Week for 6 years now. So that's something we've always done. And we 2 seasons ago started doing New York Fashion Week. So we're really kind of expanding our reach at Fashion Week because it's such a great PR event, really, and a great creative event for us as well.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I love fashion weeks. My background's fashion design, so I'm all over it, and I've been part of that industry for a long time. But like the behind the scenes part for me is just as exciting. Like I love sharing that footage of how they're putting together such creative, artistic looks. Like his runway looks are always, a little bit extra, a little different.
Yeah, it definitely becomes such a good, all the things that we can make from New York Fashion Week and all the inspiration and like what creativity that leads to from Fashion Week. I think I'm right there with you. It's so great what we can get from it afterwards even.
And you can almost not even address trends anymore because everything is so diverse and individual. Like every brand has their own style and they switch it up every year. So how do you even address trends these days? Like, is there something that you've been seeing a lot of that you can say, yeah, this is definitely a trend for this year, or is it diverse?
I think it's more like with trends is sort of like personal identity more so than anything else now. So no, there's no one way to pinpoint it. We still see like a lot of like Y2K and 90s influence, but a complete head to toe 70s influence is still very relevant. And I think with the introduction of sort of these TikTok micro trends, like everything's in trend and they're kind of blinking, right? The coquettes and the, normcore and cottagecore and all these things that just sort of pop up and they leave just as quickly as they arrived. But I think there's a really good thing which makes me really excited about fashion and like hair and the link to fashion and all of those things, that it really is just about personalization and self and identity and doing what you want, and this idea that we can dress or represent ourselves in the way that we feel right now, right? Because some days we want to feel like a boss and like really put together, and some days I want to feel a little bit more
let
free.
loose, casual.
Yeah, some days we want to put on a flowy skirt and
Yeah, sure.
natural. So we can kind of I identify with all sides of us now more than ever.
Yeah. And the Kevin Murphy hair color brand that's relatively new. How many years has that been around for?
So Color Me launched it like around the same time I started. So it's about 10 years old now, which seems crazy that it's that old.
Yeah. This is like, I just remember it being launched and it was so long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So Color Me is about 10 years, and we've really grown since the launch of Color Me. So it is an ammonia-free hair color line with all of the, of course, health benefits that Kevin Murphy touts. We put those in our color range as well, including our environmental stance and all of those things. And we've also since then launched an acidic color range called Gloss, which is incredible as well, the beautiful thing. So Gloss is a color and treatment in one. So we have bond builders, we can claim the 25% thicker and stronger hair. So it's that idea of having our cake and eating it too with an acidic color, demi-permanent acidic color range.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the advances in ingredient technology and just the efficacy, it's just like changed in leaps and bounds. And it's almost like what's there left to make out there? Like, how do you come up with something new and new and innovative products, right? That's always the challenge.
Right. Yeah, I suppose
like the most innovative product is in the brand. I mean, I know there's some really interesting things there, but like something that's like more in an artistic kit versus your everyday product.
Well, there's the one that always, like, as soon as you said the most innovative product in the brand, the thing that popped into my head, and this is like one of my favorites, and I think I could still count it as like a stylist tool, or or a tool or thing in the kit because of the possibilities it sort of creates. But we have our regiment, it's our repair regiment. So it goes to our repair, like shampoo and conditioner, wash and rinse, as we call it at Kevin Murphy. And essentially it's a protein treatment. And I think that protein becomes a little bit of a scary word for clients, and it becomes a bit of a scary word for hairdressers because we have that fear of, do we do too much? And the technology in repair is like second to none. It's so incredible. So it utilizes a green pea protein, which we, are familiar with, and we're seeing those pop up a lot more, but it utilizes like an enzyme technology. So an enzyme that comes from papayas and pineapples. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it hand delivers essentially the protein to the damaged sites on the hair. And it keeps the protein like malleable in the hair strand. And so why I love that and why that technology is so important is because hair is 97% protein. And when we start to lose protein, that's when we have breakage. That's when the hair gets dull. That's when we have rough feeling hair or anything that can sort of go wrong. And so this helps us to replenish protein without the threat of overproteinization. So we kind of teach that you can throw that word in the trash, throw it in the bin while you're using Kevin Murphy, because it's impossible. And so it's,
well, I mean, like a keratin treatment in a way, like that's giving you that extra boost.
Yeah, like the shine, the strength, increasing tensile strength, giving shine, making the hair healthier, making it perform better. With as a stylist, being able to recommend these to your clients without fear of things going the wrong way becomes a really successful tool in the salon. So, yes.
Yeah, well, tools are so essential, and you really need to know what tools to use with what products and what hair types. I mean, there's just so many things to learn as a stylist. Where do they find education for Kevin Murphy? I know you're in charge of education.
Yes, so we have so many offerings for education, both in person and digital. So we have a really robust, like, in-person education portfolio that would be booked through our distributor partners. But we also have a lot of digital resources because that's where we spend time, right? We spend time on our phones, and so we want to be able to give hairdressers the accessibility to things like on their phones. So we have an app. It's called Kevin Murphy Connect. And it's a learning-based journey app. The best way that I can compare this to is if you've ever done Duolingo as a language learning app. It's like that because it takes it and it gamifies learning, so you can match things and pick the right choice, which is a nice use of time, right? So we have the app. We also have a podcast, which the podcast is invaluable information for us. So anywhere that you would listen to podcasts, you can find them. So Apple Podcast or Spotify or anything like that. It's called Conversations with Kevin. And the podcast is incredible as far as we have business insights, we have product information, like all class information. So many things that we can learn on the podcast to teach you all about Kevin Murphy. So lots of resources.
And great. And hearing it directly from him too, which is
Of course.
From the founder genius himself. It's coming from his brain, which is a lot more exciting to listen to.
Right.
He comes up with his ideas and concepts and why, the purpose behind it. And like, speaking of purpose, what is like the mission and purpose behind the Kevin Murphy brand?
Yep. So our mission and purpose, when we read our mission statement, it actually talks about how we want to connect, and connect is the key word in there, this big connection point. But it's connecting hairdressers and their clients through technological platforms worldwide. So it's essentially this idea that we want to connect and bring people together. Because we learn from each other, we get inspired by each other, and creating a community of hairdressers around Kevin Murphy. So this big connection standpoint is super important to our mission. And we do that by building upon our core principles. So our sort of core values at Kevin Murphy, the things that we stand on, the things that need to be considered, which for us is fashion, performance, and environment.
Right. And now is the plastic a certain type of plastic, or it's recycled, or like how does that work for all of the components that the bottles are made of? Like how does that work for sustainability?
So everything is always recyclable, which I think is really important, because sometimes we get to a point with plastics where they can no longer be recycled. So everything is a recyclable plastic, and the bottles are all made from a combination of virgin plastic and then PCR plastic, which is post-consumer recycled plastic. So we use a combination of both in order to ensure like the integrity of the packaging. But what's really special about Kevin Murphy packaging is the shape of the bottle. So the shape of that packaging, or square shape packaging, utilizes 40% less plastic than a traditional shaped bottle. And the reason for that is because we can fill a higher volume with having a square top instead of a rounded top. And it also, when we print out a sheet of material that you stamp the shape of the bottles to fuse together, when we're using the less wasted, there's no cookie cutter bits left over.
Right. And I totally understand what you mean because of my fashion background. So when I lay out all the patterns all over the fabric, you have those little bits of wastage. But I can 100% see what you're saying. Like if everything's square, it's pretty much lined up.
It pops right out. Yeah, you use the entire sheet of material.
And it just looks cooler.
Come on. It also looks so cute.
Like I think I have bottles from 10 years ago. I swear it's at the top of my medicine cabinet just because it looks so cool. Like I probably can't use them anymore.
But exactly. It's just a fashion statement at this point.
But then I would also imagine that because they stack together better, it's probably better for transportation purposes as well.
Yeah, so less packing materials and less packaging boxes. So we can pack everything into smaller boxes with less materials. So it all just saves just kind of in a full circle moment like that, which is really great.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you do? What are you up to on a daily basis? Like, are you in a salon? Are you just strictly with the brand and on the road and doing education?
So I'm full-time Kevin Murphy. It's always kind of it's a funny thing to say because I'm not really sure what I do on a regular basis. It's a little of this and it's a little of that. So I am working with training educators. I work with the team to train educators, help, kind of develop a little bit of content as well. I do still go out and teach. I train DSCs and sales teams in Kevin Murphy. I work closely with our marketing for PR events and things like that as well. So I wear a lot of hats, but it is really all about like everything I do is to help with the brand of Kevin Murphy essentially, and like who we are, and make sure that people know and understand truly who we are. But another thing that I do is I manage a program that we have globally. It's called Session Salon. And essentially what Session Salon is it's a 4-part business and communication program for stylists. But what we do to keep it really on brand and to keep it really exciting for the hairdresser is we pull from Fashion Week as an inspiration and like to draw the parallels between like what happens in the salon and what happens at Fashion Week. So we do fun hair, we mood board, we get to be creative, but at the same time learning business consultation and communication skills. So that's a program that's near and dear to my heart, and I run that program for all of North America.
Yeah, that's a very important program, because when you think about, let's talk about maybe junior stylists, when they first get into the salon, like, and they're just fresh out of school, what part of schooling really prepares you for this part, like the soft skills of it? You know, you learn the techniques and the hard skills of it, but that part of the business is just as essential as your technique.
Yeah, like you have to learn the hard skills before you can learn how to listen, right? Before you can learn how to properly speak, how to have a really, really successful consultation, like a really successful consultation. So it's all of those little points that make a client experience and make like a really, really great client experience.
Yeah, because as a stylist, you're really educating your client all the time. Right, you're educating about the technique and the products you're using, you know, why certain looks or colors or shapes suit that person's face. So you really got to know what you're talking about, and obviously that comes with a little more experience. But but it starts from the consultation, right? If you get that wrong, it just can go sideways from there. So you got to make sure that's done properly. For me, I have like my blonde pictures in my phone. So I always go, okay, here. Oh, it's the same picture I'm showing you again. I know, I'm just checking. I'm just showing you like blonde, maybe blonde.
Yeah, the same one. Nothing's changed on my end. Like,
I want to see it when it's wet. I want to be blonde.
No, I love that. I encourage like my consultation every time. Like, maybe nothing's changed, but then we also need to know if something's changed or if nothing's changed. So,
right. Yeah. Or plus, it's like, how often do you see somebody, right? And I know that the customers are coming in less and less. So, you know, you don't see them for, I'm bad just because I'm like, you know, I just do highlights, but so it's all my natural. So it might be like 5 months. Sometimes it's nuts, right? It's like, so right. I was the same as last time. What was that? It was 5 months ago. Right?
I know, exactly. Well, that's true for us industry folks, though, right? Like we're always the last one to get our hair and nails done. Right?
Yeah, the shoemaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what else is happening on the Kevin Murphy brand? I guess he just had that big show. So is there like smaller education events? I mean, it's global, so it's just that's a big question, I guess. Yeah. North America.
Well, I think we're all just sort of relishing in a bit of the calm before the storm. I mean, there's always life before Budapest and after Budapest, like when it comes to a show. So we're all just kind of enjoying a little break, a little, I wouldn't call it a break, a little calmness after the storm from such a massive production. But we do have things coming along. The one thing I think for North America that to share with the listeners is we do actually have destination education with Kevin Murphy as well. So I'm really glad you brought this up because I forgot to mention it at our headquarters in Salt Lake City. So I mentioned those earlier. The headquarters in the space that we have in Salt Lake City is stunning, right?
See it. I gotta come visit.
Inspiring, and it's so Kevin Murphy, and it's so on brand, and it's like I'm excited to work there every week because it's such an inspirational place to be. But we have this really beautiful view of the Ochre Mountains, and if you know Salt Lake City, it's known for the mountains. So picture, you know, full wall of windows with mountain views. So an incredible place to learn, but also an incredible place to be immersed in Kevin Murphy. So we do offer destination education at the end of July. We have some of our global educators, Kate Reed, who's our design director for color, and Wade Blackford, our design director for styling, will be hosting an event in July, but keep a head out because as we move into even 2025, we'll have a really robust schedule for destination education for people to actually come experience Kevin Murphy, to learn and to like be at the motherland, right? Like, so be in the mothership. Like, yeah.
Oh, that would be an amazing event for sure. So is Kevin actually there at those ones, or he's in Australia, right? So that
Yeah, he's in
yeah.
Australia, so he only makes it here just a couple of times a year. So he wouldn't be there, but you kind of have the people who work directly with Kevin teaching these events, which is
Yeah.
pretty brilliant.
Yes, the superstar educators and ambassadors.
Yeah.
That's great. So, and about yourself, just tell us where we can find you on social media or your website.
Yes. So Instagram is always the best place to find me. So my Instagram is sarah.lovekm, and that is Sarah with an H. You can also check out my website. It's sarahlundhair.com. And even find me on LinkedIn. I just like to be pretty active there as well. So
Yeah, you know what? The world is there all the time. I'm there all the time. I
yeah.
see lots of hair industry there, so it is a great place to connect business wise.
Yeah, and just to see what's happening, like getting that little feel of what's happening in the world outside of behind the chair, which I think is nice
Yeah,
insights.
that's great. Well, thank you so much for our chat today. It was so nice getting to know you a little more and hearing what's going on, all the exciting things for the brand. And we're going to have this in your feature. So, hopefully everyone that listens in will be inspired and go take a look at your page and be signing up for some of the new Kevin Murphy classes.
Yes, I love it. Thank you all so much. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Nice chatting.